Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Aydan Hasanova, the production coordinator of Spark Animation Festival. And on today's session, we're going to talk about animators on TikTok. And I'm very excited to present to you the 4 great animators joining us today. And whoever who's not familiar with the application, TikTok is a social media platform. It is mainly video-based. And yeah, it's very accessible and easy to post content on there. Now, I want to introduce everyone in the panel here, and if you'd like to introduce yourselves with a few words. First up is Zoe. Hello, Zoe.
Hello, I'm Zoe, or Zobebop on TikTok. I make animations ranging from like silly little characters to more story-based, and I just like being creative, so yeah.
Awesome. And next, I want to introduce Chaos.
Hi guys, I'm Normal Chaos, or just Chaos. I am also an animator on TikTok and YouTube as well. I definitely like to primarily focus in frame-by-frame animation. I find that very fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining. Next up, we have Karen.
Hey guys, my name is Karen. I go by OK Karen on TikTok. I've been animating since 2018, and I love telling stories, and I'm excited to be here.
Nice.
Hey, it's OK Karen.
And next we have Edmund.
Hi, my name is Edmund, aka Reko on the interwebs, specifically on TikTok. My name is Reko. I am a freelance quote-unquote animator. Been building it for a while now. Mostly just makes little funny animated music videos revolving around my life, telling stories of mostly my parents and my siblings and the dumb stuff we get into, but yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. You used to call me on my cell phone. Night when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone. Night when you need my love. I know when that hotline bling, you can only mean one thing. I know when that hotline bling, you can only mean one thing. Ever since I left the city, you got a reputation for yourself now. Everybody knows and I feel left out. Girl, you got me down, you got me stressed out. 'Cause ever since I left the city, you started wearing less and going out more. Glasses of champagne out on the dance floor. Hanging with some girls I never seen before. You used to call me on my cell phone. Late night when you need.
Now we have all of you here because we like to think of TikTok as this new and kind of messy application, but there's actually so much potential in this app because it's so accessible and because of the whole algorithm system of the application. And there's just so much potential with that. And so I want to kind of like talk about like, how did you get into TikTok and when did you start animating and how that kind of like started building up for you and going for you. Chaos, would you like to start?
I feel like you pointed that at me because I think I'm the earliest person to join TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, I joined TikTok around late. I actually started around late 2018 when it was just becoming a thing, I guess, because it had been Musically before, rebranded into TikTok. And I started off by just posting regular TikTok content, as you would probably imagine it, where it was just like, I don't know, do little funny dances, like do little memes, stuff like that. Try to be funny, be comedic, because I love being funny. Eventually, I ended up seeing people like doing like speed paints and drawing and stuff on TikTok, like as time went on. And around early 2019 in January, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to try again. And I deleted the old account. I made a new account under this name. And I just posted what I would think was like funny in that regard, because it was really like a movable comic strip of just like a scene going on. And that's how I did my early TikToks before I started getting into animation itself. But like it resonated with a lot of people because I guess art wasn't too big on the platform quite then, because it was me, people like Toon McNudie, we were all just doing relatively the same thing, and people just like, they loved it because it was a new form of content that application had never seen.
Cool. And did you have any art background before starting TikTok?
As far as my art record goes, I am a self-taught animator. I have done graphic design in college and in high school for about 5 years, where I was more interested to get into animation, but just the college I was going to didn't offer any kind of program into it. And just because of like my living situation, like I couldn't move anywhere to go and attend animation college. But I was just scrolling through YouTube, learned animation, just kind of like built off that. And that's where we are now.
Yeah, and it's great that you're still able to tell stories, because that's always what matters in the end, of like which kind of format you're able to tell that with.
Of course.
I believe, Zoe, you have some animation background. Would you like to talk about your beginnings?
Yeah, so in 2018, right after I graduated high school, I went to a Canadian animation school in Ottawa called Algonquin College, Algonquin Animation. So I started learning all of my like more fundamental type of animation there. And then unfortunately I got cancer midway through my semester and then had to come back home to California. And then that's when I started TikTok, because I was pretty much bedridden. I couldn't draw, I couldn't really do much out of my bed. And so I just got an iPad and started drawing and uploading on TikTok. And that's where I started my little page of things. So it's been really fun, a very fun journey so far.
Awesome. And I think, Karen, you mentioned you started animating 2 years ago. How's that been for you?
Yeah, so when I started in 2018, I was just like doodling on pieces of paper. Like I didn't take it very seriously. It wasn't until I saw like Tootie McNudie and Chaos like taking the artwork digitally that I, invested in an iPad and Procreate, and I actually started animating. And what's cool about it is that you can actually scroll down on my TikTok page and kind of see my development and how I, taught myself animation. I go to a school in FIT in New York, and I took illustration, and right now I'm getting my bachelor's in toy design. So I'm self-taught in animating, and I learned from my peers. So
I love that. And Edmund, how was it for you? I think you mentioned that you do your animations on Toon Boom, which is like an animation software that's different from Procreate, which is a lot of animators use. How has your journey been?
Yeah, I had a bit of a way different path than everybody in here. I had been making animated music videos before I came on TikTok. I kind of had it happening on Instagram, I believe. I was mostly working as a freelance animator for a small up-and-coming artist. And then the funny thing, somebody I was dating actually cursed me into getting on TikTok. She was kind of like, hey, check out this TikTok, and I know you make animations, maybe put it on there. And at first I was kind of against it because I mostly just wanted to focus on like work as making animations for music. But then eventually I think it was Tootie. I saw one of Tootie's videos, animated videos, and I was like, this is really cool. Maybe I should get on the app. So I kind of got on the app. I posted some of my older my older music videos. Those didn't do well. So I kind of went, you know what, let's try to do this properly. And I actually started making animations, like more focused on TikTok, on the format that it requires. And after about, like, I'd say a year or two, it kind of took off on its own. And I was kind of happy about that. But as far as animation goes, I'm also self-taught. I started learning how to animate, I would say 5 years ago. But I was doing sprite-based animations. And then eventually I liked drawing. So I was kind of like, well, maybe I should shift from doing sprites into like drawing fully characters and using that to animate. And in the last 2 years, I kind of started taking it more seriously and got into more, well, with TikTok growing and then the music video business doing well. I kind of been doing that a lot more.
Yeah. And say there's just so much to bounce off of from the app because of the structured, the application is structured. There's just like, it's algorithm based, and the app kind of like calculates what your interests are. So it gets a lot of exposure, and then there's a lot of opportunities that arise there. Karen, have you had any like very interesting opportunities or people reaching out to you?
I mean, yeah, definitely. TikTok is a great way to get your art seen, especially because the way it can just blow up in a second. That's millions of people seeing your artwork. And then there's also the marketplace on TikTok that I've gotten a couple jobs from, which is basically where companies and brands can reach out to creators and have them create a video for the products. So I've done a couple of those. I've had Makeshift turn my characters into toys, where I donated all the proceeds. And then I've gotten an animation job at Sizzle, which is a branch of Genius Brands. And we've been working on kids shows for Cartoon Channel, and that's been great. This is an opportunity coming from TikTok as well. I have a Skillshare class coming out on Tuesday. So a lot of really amazing things have come from TikTok, and it's definitely blessed my life.
Yeah, it's very cool. How is the animation community with it? Like, is there any interaction between the animators?
Always.
It seems like some people know each other.
Definitely. Yeah, we have all known each other for quite a long time now. It started off just like with a small group chat on Instagram, and then into a whole like Discord server where we would just be on the phone for hours, either playing video games or drawing, doing work for TikTok and things like that. So we've all gotten to know each other pretty well. The community is very welcoming and very nice. I've learned like a lot of the animation stuff that I know how to do. I've learned from them. Like Chaos has been on the phone with me for like hours trying to teach me how to do certain things.
It's very ironic, guys, from someone who's self-taught to try and teach you like, oh, this is how I do it. So I mean, if you want to try, I don't know. But when when it had started out, TikTok doesn't really have the best in terms of direct messaging software, right? When someone follows you back, then you suddenly become friends on the app to where you are now allowed to direct message them. And every time I would get a follow back, it would always just end up being, do you want to join Discord server or something like, I don't want to talk on here. I want to talk somewhere else. Makes it a lot easier. And like that's where the community just started to grow, because it wasn't just me, it was people like Toonie McNoonie and the Real Cornelius and Pizza Cartoons. They're all like wonderful people who like were there just as I was in the very beginning, who started on Instagram group chat. Instagram has a limit of 32 people in a group DM, so then we had to move the Discord, and it just kept going because so many people started to join the community, and I didn't realize how big it would be until I kept adding people. I'm like, oh my god, there's so many people.
And we don't really assume that when we see the app as well, because like we were saying, animation is such a distinct type of content on the app compared to like the more like dancey or more funny comedic videos. Just a lot of trends on the app, and sometimes like animation is able to kind of like copy that or like reinterpret that. So how has like kind of following trends or not following trends, choosing to not do that, like all right, Edmund, can you tell your experience?
Definitely, because when I first got on the app, I wasn't really paying attention to the trends. I was just kind of doing my own little thing because I came from music videos, so I kind of wanted to stick to that. But eventually, I had a random video pop up because I guess the sound was trending. I didn't realize it was trending. I just happened to make a video to it, and that kind of carried my page a little bit. And after that, I wanted to like keep that momentum, so I started like looking up like how to get that. How do I hop on this trend? And with working with trends, since we're animators, we can't really like just get on the trend that instantly happens. Either one, you have to wait till the trend has kind of like subdued a little bit, and then you get on it to like bring it up. Or two, you just have to work fast and don't sleep. That's the only other way to do it. But for me, I happen to just, whenever a trend is going on, the way I guess concept my animation around it is that I take the trend, I try to think up as like something, maybe it's drastically different from what everybody else is doing with the trend because I'm an animator, and try to like one up that with like animation in general. That's the way I create my content with trends, because if I do the exact same thing everybody's doing, like a dance, it's like to animate all of that on frame by frames on like tubes and whatnot, it's too much work. I'm not gonna do that. So I rather like create something new from the trend and see what happens. And usually from my experience, that has worked out very well for the craft. Like almost like it's kind of like having like prompts on like how to make your animations, and that way it kind of like motivates me to like get very creative with it and like kind of open up a new area I wasn't even thinking about with the animation.
Yeah. And how do you feel about that, Zoe?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, I was completely crazy and tried posting every day as an animator, which I don't know what I was thinking. But I would scroll through TikTok for hours to either find like a fun sound or song and just kind of either create a little character or a little story to go off of it. And then eventually I got a bit burnt out, as you can imagine. But I still really enjoy going through TikTok, and it's kind of a blessing and a curse when it comes to scrolling, because you could scroll for hours and find nothing, but then this like amazing visual idea comes into your head the second this sound plays, and then you're like immediately drawing and whatnot, and then you post it and you're like super proud. But yeah, I definitely, it's fun even when there are sounds not trending. Like anything can spark inspiration, which is so great. So yeah.
And speaking of burnout, that's a huge topic with social media platforms as well, especially like the desire to constantly post and to be relevant. How do you keep up with that as animators on the platform who likes what they're doing, but also, you know, maybe wants to be relevant or do not want to be? How do you feel about it, Chaos?
Well, like obviously there has to be areas where you take your mental health breaks. When it comes to TikTok, they definitely expect that you're posting at a very frequent basis, because you see that like people who are in the lead of growing their page, they tend to be able to post more than once a day. And TikTok really likes that. Any social media will like that if you're consistent and you're constantly bringing people to the app, like, because you always have content to produce. But for animators, it's hard because, you know, we have to draw everything and be creative with it almost all the time. But the fact that we're here, we're sitting in this interview right now talking about how we've grown over the years, it really shows how genuine our communities really are when it comes to, they love to watch our content. And the fact that we may not be as consistent, they're always going to be here and sit around for us. And I very much appreciate that. I can't be, I have too much, I don't know what else to say about it. Like, I'm speechless when it comes to that sort of thing. I'm like, that people enjoy what we do so much. But like, obviously in that mindset where like you're posting every day, Zoe, like, and as well as my friend Mash, like, you guys had like a moment in time where you posted every single day to see what it would do. And it definitely worked out, but like eventually it kind of burned you out because there was so much. So like, it's always smart to take those breaks when needed. I literally just took a break like a month ago. Like just kind of like focusing on not just my work, but just everything I needed to do in terms of client work, because I'm doing freelance right now, just to kind of clear my head. I feel like every artist kind of needs a break in some way, even if the break is more work. Like, just get your mind in some other place, you know?
Yeah, and to build off that, I think there's like, although posting every day was really fun to an extent, and like it definitely sped up my improvement with being able to draw quickly, and like as many people know in the Discord server that we were all in, like I was in there drawing constantly, and then posting the next day and like showing progress and stuff. But I think now that I've kind of taken a step back and given myself those breaks, it also allows me to explore more areas that I wouldn't have necessarily had time for previously, because I was posting and drawing the night before to then post at like 8 a.m. in the morning and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely taking the breaks are important.
Yeah.
Sometimes quality is better than what's that saying? Quality is
better than quantity.
Quantity, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, how has burnout been for you, Karen, or like, have you experienced it? Because you mentioned, yeah, you were doing it for yourself or for like clients. How has that been?
It's definitely having to balance it all, because like, you're not only creating artwork for yourself, but sometimes you're creating it for other people as well. You know, like Zoe, when I first started, I was animating every day and I was posting videos every day. It wasn't until like I had one animation idea that happened to take 2 weeks for me to create, and that one blew up. So I kind of noticed that taking the time to create, you know, quality product is going to result in better views and things like that. So I've definitely stuck more with like posting once a week or once every twice a week. But yeah.
Yeah.
If I can bounce off that,
yeah.
In terms of quality and quantity, like, when it comes to animation, we as artists have like a personal agenda to just be very passionate with like how we produce the art itself, where we just kind of want to put our all into like even just a few seconds. And yes, there is a slippery slope when it comes to that, but it's just the passion that you put into the content that you make that really resonates with the people that watch it. And you can tell that people loved to make this, right? Like, you see different animated like films and different shows where it's like, they must have had a lot of fun making that. That seemed like a lot of fun, you know? And it shows in our content too. Obviously, if you're looking in terms of views, that's where the slippery slope comes in. It's like, oh, should I be focusing on quality? Because like this didn't even do as well as I wanted it to. Where it's not about that in the long run. It's about, it's like, hey, did you enjoy making it? Because overall, like, did you have fun making it is like the overall message that you need to do when it comes to art, animation, any creative fields.
For sure. And it's interesting to compare like the animation, like even the dynamic of posting on animation on TikTok compared to how it's working in the industry, because, you know, people are more focused on kind of like, you know, one scene, you have one scene and then you work on it and you're kind of secured, while there's just kind of like battle with social media and just kind of like, you know, you're keeping yourself afloat. But how have you guys been managing kind of like creating, like making new ideas, or do you think that TikTok is something that is going to continue for a while for you, or like how do you see yourself going off from there? Edwin, would you like to start?
Yeah, as far as when in regards to that of like how TikTok is going to be going forward, I believe TikTok is going to be one of the quote unquote big platforms, like the bigger platforms. Is going to be here to stay for the long run, from what I've seen with the way they have the structure set up. And as far as like moving forward, I want to build myself outside of TikTok. I've been focusing on other platforms to get my audience on there too and build a platform there, because simply put is, I feel like having one loyalty to one platform doesn't really help out everything in the long run, because again, as creators, we want to make as much as we want where we can and be able to like fund those creations ourselves. And having loyalty to one platform usually means that that platform has all the power in regards to like your art in general. So you have to shift and bend to like that platform's power. But if you was to be on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and every one of those, I feel like then it's like now you yourself are you're full-on creator, and like you have all the power in that sense. So I plan on sticking with TikTok for the long run, because I know as the platform ages and as people get more accustomed to it and people see the value on the platform, that more people are gonna like what we have, everybody in here has on TikTok, is gonna become a hot commodity in a sense, because having a platform on TikTok early before everybody comes in is a great thing. But because of that, I know again eventually the money and all that will eventually come as well, the platform, because I am in the process of talking with somebody about possibly making an animated show specifically for TikTok, because that's just something somebody wants to try out. So I feel like everything is going to eventually come to TikTok, but I want to make sure I build myself outside of TikTok for the future case of anything bad happen to the platform, or my account get it deleted, blocked, or like somebody getting like, I don't know, getting a copyright strike, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like preparing for the future.
Yeah. Speaking of like funding, how does that work with TikTok? Karen mentioned there is a marketplace on TikTok, but how else is a creator able to create?
So yeah, you have the marketplace where brands can reach out to you and basically pay you to promote their products. We also have the creator fund. That's definitely not anything that's going to be able to support any actual creators on the app, but it's a nice, you can go across and get a candy bar maybe. But I think, the big benefit of it all is that everyone's on TikTok, meaning that everyone's seeing your artwork. So you're going to get jobs from different places. Like I have all summer and all throughout school, I've had to have an outside job because TikTok has been able to support, those jobs coming in. Like I pretty much have been doing freelancing for different companies since then. So that's how I've been able to support myself.
Yeah, I can add on top of that too. This is my first year of being a full-time content creator, and most of my money have been made off of TikTok, of like different brands and different companies, or like somebody just reaching out of like, hey, I got a show, I want to pilot them for this amount, and then me picking it up and asking a couple of friends to help me animate the pilots or like whatever it is. And then also like musicians as well. Musicians have been coming to the platform, so they've been reaching out to animators because they see that animation in general on the platform just does well. So they want, when they have a song launching, they'll reach out to animators to be like, hey, I have a song coming out, I want to get this promoted. Here's some money, make a 15-second short and help me promote my song. And that's been like a great source of income at least for me. I don't know about everybody else, but that's been a great source of income for me.
No,
I think
TikTok is basically the new LinkedIn.
That's a good point.
TikTok for animators, I definitely, or even illustrators, or anyone who's in a creative field. I think TikTok's kind of like an online demo reel for anyone. Where I've gotten a lot of people reaching out. I don't know what to say. I'm so cool, but I have gotten my fair share of people reaching out, which I've declined plenty because they're like $100 for a 3-minute animated music video. I'm like, I'm gonna pass. But I'm currently working on like an animated music video with a group of people that I'm like really, really fond of and like really like their stuff. And I've also been able to promote some of my own work through Etsy and everything while posting it on TikTok, which is, it's, you know, not something I ever expected when I first went on the app, because I just wanted to kind of share my art. And then it's turned into a place where it's like, oh, I can actually get some income and stuff through this if I so choose.
Mhm.
I definitely agree that TikTok is more of a portfolio site than it is a like how people kind of viewed YouTube in like the mid 2010s, where it's like, oh, I can get monetized and get a job with this. Well, TikTok doesn't really like shine itself that, where like everyone like in the art community putting their stuff on TikTok, like you see that, and opportunities come from that as well, instead of it just being like will like support you. And it's like, as much as I want to say that like it would, it's not going to be livable, you know. So when it came to how I found my own work, because I just do freelance right now, it was just me posting on TikTok and then from there spreading out to different apps like Instagram and Twitter and YouTube as well. But it made me a lot more discoverable by different people who wanted to say like, hey, like I need an animator or I need a storyboard artist like on this, like could you do it? And there was a lot more opportunities just flooding through into my email. And like I did get brand deals where they had me do an advertisement for them. I have different YouTubers who I animate for, and just like a bunch of people see your work and they take that, and like that's where TikTok is a really strong catalyst for it. It's because it just kind of pushes your stuff almost everywhere, because everyone's looking at TikTok right now.
How has it been different to post on TikTok in particular compared to like our platforms like YouTube or Instagram, especially now that like Instagram like officially declared that TikTok is their nemesis? They're trying to like, you know, compete with it.
Oh, I love that.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I think it's just a strategy, right? Because when it comes to your demographic on each app, it's different. TikTok is more of the younger generation for the most part. But when you're getting to places like Instagram, who's owned by Facebook, you're probably going to see more of an older demographic, as well as YouTube. That's pretty wide of a demographic. Like everyone pretty much uses YouTube. So it's a strategy of like the amount of time you have in your video, like for TikTok is 15 seconds to, I believe, 3 minutes now. I think they changed that.
Yeah.
It used to be just a minute. Where you're just like, how much stuff can I put into that video? It was the same thing when Vine was about. You only had 6 seconds to make someone laugh, and that's it. So you better make your joke really quick. For TikTok, you get a little bit more of like breathing room, but still like you want to fit it in that 15 seconds, because that's like something very quick that I can make, you know, especially for animators. 15 seconds is amazing. But when it comes to YouTube, it's like you gotta do a couple minutes, like maybe you're telling a story on YouTube. And with TikTok, you have the ability to do that, but it's like you also have the constraint of like it has to be under 3 minutes.
Yeah.
When it comes to Instagram, they're doing something very similar with their Instagram Reels, but they're still on the minute basis. So now you have to think about like, if I make a 3-minute TikTok, I can't put it in my Instagram Reels at all. So it's almost a strategy of like where you want to put the certain content, and like what you want to put in that video in general.
Yeah. To go off of that, I also think like the difference, at least with the two platforms that I'm most familiar with, aside from Instagram, because I usually just post like drawings or illustrations on there, but like with TikTok, it's very short form content. So like sure, your video could go viral, but like right after that there's another video that's like has 1 million views or something. When in YouTube, I think it's a lot more personalized. Like, of course, there's a For You page on TikTok. Things are going to be accustomed to what you like to see, what you like, what you save, etc. But with YouTube, it's like, it's very, you subscribe to this channel, they post typically on a weekly basis. And I feel like it's a lot harder for content creators to get lost in that like endless void of scrolling, because they have those people that they go to. With TikTok, it's like easily you could find anyone every day. You could find someone that you really like within just a few little swipes. So in terms of like absorbing that content, I feel in terms of a long run and really connecting with your audience, I feel YouTube has a bit more of like a grounded sense, while TikTok, it's like you get those people, but I feel like it's also very spread out with like, you know, millions of people on the platform constantly uploading things and new trends appearing like every day.
I
Sure.
would, to add on top of that, what Zoe is, I would agree with that as well, because I feel like TikTok is more of like a strictly entertainment platform. Like most people come on there not necessarily to be like, I want to see my favorite content creator. It's more of like I just want to be entertained. So put something on my For You, so let me get entertained. And why the other platforms, I would say YouTube again, it's more of like I get on here, I have a certain content creators that I like watching, and I'm gonna go see those people. Instagram is more of like a middle ground. I'm not really sure where they're at right now, but it feels it feels right now like they're trying to. They're just fighting with TikTok at this point. But I will say, as a content creators, I feel like we should take advantage of such a dispute between the different platforms, because right now Instagram is pushing Reels really hard. And as a TikTok animator, it seems to be very beneficial to me just taking my TikToks, put it on Reels, and then getting millions of views. It's been very beneficial to me. And I believe Reels is about to stop paying creators for posting their, Instagram is about to stop paying creators who post Reels as like a normal YouTube ad video, kind of like how the IGTV works. So that's another way of like a platform that wants to pay creators. So because I feel like the future is moving towards everybody wants to pay creators, because creators are the people that keep the platforms alive. And I believe IG just finally realized that. So now they're bending everything back and forth to pay everybody. But yeah, because of that, now I feel like rather than like changing the way we make our content based on platform, I feel like you should probably, because they're most of them are similar, because Instagram is just basically TikTok at this point, right? YouTube is slightly different. That's a more like personalized kind of content. And I feel like with that, you can have two different kind of content, because at least that's the way I'm planning it. I have the longer form personal content for YouTube. And then I have like the more quick, funny humor that I specifically made for TikTok, but also does well on Instagram Reels, because that's just how the platform is. So anything that's trended on TikTok, we eventually trend on Instagram Reels. So I just happen to just put those two together as one platform, and YouTube as something separate. So
Yeah.
it's been working great for me, at least.
That's awesome. What would be something that you would change to make TikTok better, that would work for you? How do you feel about that, Karen?
I think animations in particular, like being able to collaborate is a lot more. It's more difficult when you're an animator trying to collaborate. We've done it before, but it's difficult at times. So it would be nice to somehow fit, maybe like make it more collaborative in a way on the app.
Especially,
think on that
I
one.
think that it just, like I was saying before with the direct messaging, like I just needs to be better with its communicative skills. When it comes to the app communicating to you and creators communicating to other creators, YouTube has the YouTube Studio, where they constantly try to give you tips on like, hey, this is what you could do like to grow your content, or this is how you can strategize these sort of things. TikTok doesn't necessarily have too much. There are definitely people out there that try to give TikTok tips and like how to do these certain things, but overall, like it's just kind of hard to really connect with the application itself, because a lot of us like are just kind of like posting and like we don't know what we're doing at the very beginning of it, but like sooner or later we kind of develop our own strategies to make our own content, just with the experience of doing it for so long. And that'll be a lot of people's like introduction into TikTok is just like, I don't know what I should be doing. What should I be doing? And I would just, my only advice, like, you don't take advice from other creators, because that is their strategy.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of do it yourself and figure things out, because it really pays off. But I think TikTok really does need some way where creators can really talk to each other more, like some way that we can talk directly to like people who run TikTok itself, you know, because like other than doing it through email, we don't really have a way to do it, you know.
I also think with the certain trends and stuff, it's, and I mean, not to say that TikTok could per se make this better, but for animators, it's definitely a lot harder to stick or keep up with those, because there are plenty of animations that I've made that by the time I'm like even just halfway finished, it's like, oh, trend's over, can't post this because it's just not going to reach anyone.
Just dead weight.
And not to mention, like, with I had a long time ago at this point, but I joined the creator fund because this was like a very new opportunity of, hey, your videos could potentially get monetized based on certain views, and my videos had been doing well at the time, and so I joined it, and then just the algorithm completely suppressed all of them, so much to the point where I was like, there's no point in me trying to make money, which was never like the original intention, but you know, if this opportunity shows, at least make it in a way that is profitable and not completely just killing my channel or killing my content that I really work hard on for my followers to see. So that's been frustrating, but overall, I mean, I still think it's a pretty decent platform, and you can still easily get your stuff seen by those who want to see it.
The thing I would I guess I would add to that is I may have a slightly different variation as far as my experience with that then, because I was one of the, I guess, lucky few people who currently has people directly in contact with TikTok that I do talk with as far as like whatever is happening with the platform. So I have like a manager, quote unquote, on TikTok. So whenever something happens, I usually reach out to them and they'll tell me what's going on. But from what I understand, I believe at a certain size, everybody should have a TikTok manager, I believe. I'm not sure about that because I just recently got mine. So it's something like kind of new. But I think a lot of what is, I guess, being said about the said right now is currently, it's like, I feel like they're growing pains because I feel like similar things happening right now to TikTok are what happened to Instagram and YouTube when it first started as well. Because these are like brand new platform grown, because early YouTube, you couldn't make money really off of the ads on YouTube. Same thing with Instagram. Like you couldn't really make, you still can't really make money off Instagram, but the creators have to figure out a new way to make money off the platforms until the money gets there. Because that's the way I think of TikTok as like a future investment. Like all of this is just a future investment and possibility of like the platform reaching the height it should be at, and then gaining the respect and the quote unquote ad revenue that should be being spent on the platform. But as far as what I would love to change about the platform, the biggest thing for me, I would agree with Chaos about the communication with other creators. It's not the easiest to like reach out to other creators to talk to and like figure things out about as far as like collaborating goes. Because, and I would agree with Zobi with the, what is it, the trends. They happen very quickly and very fast. And like if you're an animator, you can't really get on it unless you kind of get an inkling it's going to happen ahead of time. I've had a couple of those that I was lucky in guessing like, oh, this is going to become a trend, so I should start working on it, on the video for this. And then like, I think 4 or 5 days later, the trend like blew up and I happened to post that day and my video kind of went along with the trend, and that took me to like fucking crazy levels. So I'm like, oh, this is great. This is amazing. But I can't do that every time. I do it once every blue moon. So it's kind of harder to get that done. But yeah, that is trend and communication with like other creators, just an easier, simpler way.
And it's interesting how like that whole dynamic is able to kind of like transform your artwork. Like you strategize what the trend will be, and your art is already the trend, but you're able to kind of like calculate. That's so interesting. How you're able to jump into it and kind of like ride the wave and then be like, yeah, cool.
Anytime I talk to my friends who don't like, out of the friends I have in real life through school or just locally, I talk about, they get so fascinated by how I talk about TikTok, because sure, there's a creative aspect, but I'm like, you know, I have to post it on this day because the trend's just starting to trend and the numbers are growing. Post it at this certain time, then more people will see it. And if I post it on like this specific type of topic, then more people might be inclined to share it, and so on and so forth. And it's very interesting how analytical you have to think on certain things if you want it to be trending specifically. And obviously there's the side of, I just like posting and I like sharing. But it's like, if you want it to trend, there's a very specific way about going on that. And it's kind of fun, but it's also kind of stressful.
I would have to agree with that. I am more of a analytical person, so I tend to like want to look at the numbers, look through like the what is happening and stuff. Like this is just something I do. I'm not sure if anybody else does it here, but whenever I find a sound that is kind of like maybe I see like maybe 2-3 videos of people doing it, and I'm like, ooh, this might become a trend. I will go through the video, go through the sounds, go to the audio, see how many people have posted videos on the sound to like gauge to gauge how well a video I make will perform compared to like when the trend will like I guess that happened. I enjoy doing of like I will stay on TikTok, go through sounds, look at all the audios and go, okay, this is doing well. This is doing well. The numbers for this are not okay, but probably won't do well on my page. That's just the kind of person I am. So I enjoy that kind of stuff as well because in a weird way, it gets me excited to work on a video for it because I'm kind of like, okay, if I do it this way and I mix this thing, then this thing together with this, and then possibly post this on like Wednesday, it might do amazing. So that for me is just fun. It's like playing the game. It's just like, okay, mix the right colors, the right pepper, bam, you got something nice.
I mean, there's one specific example that I can think of because I've been very fortunate to be able to animate pretty quickly in certain aspects. There was this one audio of this kid on his phone as like the shark for the iPhone telling his mom that he wants or something like that. And that night, it pays off to do all-nighters. I stayed up all night animating this little shark sitting on a rock, saying it, and like it completely blew up, and it pays off. Like there's certain aspects where it's like, oh, this has like 2.3 million likes on it. I'm gonna stay up all night, despite me probably not being good for me. And then it pays off, and I have like a cute little animation that people really like because the audio just blew up that same day or the day after. So it's very fun. Your creativity sometimes.
Like I was saying earlier with the consistency of the platform, where like TikTok kind of wants to see that like you're able to post on a very regular basis. Trends kind of follow that same attitude, where it's like you're there to ride the wave, but if you don't get on fast enough, then it's like you may miss it. And certain trends last way longer, certain trends don't last at all. They last that day, which is why, like, when it comes to if you want to strategize following a trend, then it's like you gotta go fast. So like when we're like, because when we're thinking about like, oh, like that sounds doing pretty well, like I kind of want to follow this trend because one, this trend is funny, I would enjoy making this video. Two, it would do really well for me just to try and do it. Like that's when like you're just like, okay, what's my schedule, how fast can I get this done? Because that's when we want to post it, is like right when we think about it. It's just like, okay, so this trend's doing pretty well right now, but if I spend finishing this video, the trend's already gone, so that's the rise and fall when it comes to how we have to strategize our content if we're going for trending in that regard.
It's interesting that we're trying to strategize virality, because like trying to go like viral, the concept of viral is just such an unpredictable thing sometimes, because something can be trending and going on the trend can help, but then sometimes some videos blow up for unexplained reasons. How has that been for you, Karen? You explained something blew up because you put effort into it.
Yeah, so when I first kind of started, I was doing the trends, things like that, and it was doing good for me. It wasn't until I kind of stopped doing trends actually and creating my own scripts and taking stories from my own life and actually animating those and making them relatable to other people that they actually blew up. Like even still, like I'll do a trend, but it won't do as good as a script or a sound that I create myself. That's just, that's for me. But those are the ones that I enjoy doing more anyways, is because it's me animating my own life. So those are more fun for me to do anyways. But yeah, that's how it's affected me.
It's very interesting to see that, to see just like the different perspectives of like us like trying to hop on the trend and not, and like working on different ways.
It's really just luck. Fingers crossed, Sometimes like with animating too, like you put weeks into making an animation, and you pull all-nighters and things like that, and now you have fun doing it, but it's like you get addicted sometimes to seeing the numbers. So when you don't get them, it's kind of like, okay, but maybe next time. but I think it's harder for, you know, artists who spend so many hours creating a 15-second video. Like a lot of people aren't going to put that much work into 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So
in that regard,
Yeah.
that's for like the question where like people who maybe smaller creators are asking bigger creators, just like, how do I grow? How do I make something viral? How do I make something trend? And the advice I was saying earlier, where it's like you can't really follow the advice, you can't really follow the like strategies of other creators, because it's just like they got lucky too. Like it's just a matter of like posting at the right time, and like maybe it'll do well, maybe it won't, but like that's where you can't get too obsessed with like how those numbers rise and fall, because otherwise you're just going to you're just going to kind of put yourself in that mood where you're always looking at the numbers instead of it being a passion project anymore.
Yeah, I think fortunately with all of us, or at least I think I can speak for all of us, like we all started TikTok out of wanting to share our content and not necessarily wanting to blow up and be famous, which I think like there are very different communities within TikTok that, you know, when you're on there, you feel like, wow, this is all of TikTok, but it's really only just a tiny little portion of people who have animation or like frogs, you know. It's,
you're entering the library of Babel. It is per se of TikTok.
Yeah. but like with that in mind, you know, there's like one TikTok is a bunch of people dancing or making like silly little skits, or other side where it's people drawing or making like cinematic masterpieces. And with our little niche of animators, I think of course there's like strategy and numbers that come with posting on any sort of social media, but as long as you're creating in a way that is good for you and comforting or fun, I think those numbers don't become as important as long as that structure is there, where it's like, I'm really here just to share stuff. And if it blows up, awesome. If not, at least I was having fun doing it. So keeping that mentality is so important, especially if you want to stay sane.
Definitely, you got to protect yourself in the process as well, as you're writing all of that. How has the process between like being proactive or reactive to a trend, or like being original versus like following the trend been for you, Edmund? We're also working with music videos, so I imagine there's like some originality within there. So how has those kind of like two shifts been?
I think with that has been, I try to be usually proactive, but sometimes I might just miss it and like I have to be reactive with the trends. But as far as like trying to start a trend with the platform, with like, let's say somebody promoting a song, it's been very interesting because with TikTok, whenever an artist is going to drop a song and then they are directly in contact with TikTok, your videos can get what is called whitelisted. And what that means is that whatever the audio is, your video will shoot up to the very top. So it's been very interesting where like an artist pays for promotion, gets me to animate a song for it. It becomes like they're trying to make it into a trend and it gets whitelisted. So that video would automatically perform well and be at the very top of like whatever the trend is. It's been a kind of like a weird situation where it's like, it's good for me in the long run, but in the short term, not really, because some of the times the song might just not really relate to my audience and the video wouldn't perform with my audience, right? But it would perform with like the general scope of like the platform in general, right? So people who are just happen to get shown the song and they like the song. But yeah, it's kind of like a trade-off situation of like, I have to like take into calculation of, if I post this video, my audience are probably not gonna maybe want to see a video for me, maybe for like a week or so, maybe, depending on like what kind of a video it is. And the trade-off of like, oh, getting paid for this, and like this could probably sustain me for at least the next 3 months, depending on how big the check is. So it's been an interesting balancing out audience happiness / me surviving everything. So it's just like having to make sure to walk that line very well. I've come up with the concept of now of like, I only take two to three promotions a month when it comes to like any brand deals or whatever it is. If I can avoid it, if once I have 3, I would try to avoid it as much as possible for like the rest of the month until maybe, and usually after that month, I would spend like 2 months for my audience specifically, not worried about anybody else outside of that. Not really. I might do 1 or 2 trendy stuff, but I'll stick to like stuff that I just think is funny and like forget about trends, just an audience favorite, I guess, back up in general.
Yeah. Is there a moment that there's more people reaching out to you to kind of like create branded or sponsored content that you were mentioning? Or like there was a moment a video blew up? How is that
Yeah,
one?
it was specifically a video that I think I've made 7 of them now. It's an audio. I don't remember the audio. I think it's like the song is called Whales, but I think the song is by the artist Whale. It's called Butterfly, and it's just a video of me basically walking forward and then stepping on stuff that hurt me, and then my character, you know, with animation, making the reaction over exaggerated, facial expression. I turn into Squidward, the handsome Squidward, and start falling down. So that was the video that really took my account off, and I've made about 7 of them, and each of them have over 1 million views. So as soon as those videos like kind of started happening, it's when the brand deals started coming in. And since then, I've been getting like a steady incline of like at least once a month. But sometimes I might go like a month or 2, maybe 3 months without any like reach. But after like 3 months, usually there's like a huge influx of brands coming again after that. And then I have like sift through whatever one would actually work with my audience and the ones I might not want to do just in general because I don't like the project. So it's usually that way.
Yeah. And Chaos, you mentioned you're kind of like the oldest, the wisest and oldest of the TikTok animators on TikTok. How do you see like from when you started to how long you've been now? Was there a change within that? And like the whole brand deal thing, was it always there, or kind of, you know, want to talk about it?
I think that when the app was just on the rise, it wasn't in anyone's mind. Like, because any app that just starts out, you just post there just to post. There's no like money involved. And like even starting now, like you shouldn't like put yourself in the mindset where money is involved. But still, when brands started to reach out to us, for me it was early 2020 that like I started to just get people who are like, hey, you like this is something that like you'd be interested in, your demographic would be interested in, like here we can talk about like pricing and stuff like that if you make a video. Because I made advertisements for XP Pen and a tablet company, and usually when it comes to how different brands look at a social media platform, they just want to see that like if it performs well, it's good for them. Obviously, that's just business. And when TikTok started to rise in terms of an artist field, that's when more artist type branding started to join the app. And right now, TikTok is kind of noticing that, where like not like recently, but like a while ago, they made TikTok Marketplace, where like they are trying to make it more accessible for people to communicate with brands. Although it does have its flaws, I will say that. Like they're making an effort to where it's more accessible for creators to just kind of like take advantage of that if they really want to. When it was me working for the tablet company, they reached out to me through email because of the fact that I had it like in the depths of my bios of different like accounts and stuff. They're like, hey, and ironically, they saw my TikToks and they wanted to work with me because they saw my TikToks on a YouTube compilation, not on TikTok itself. So it's just very random from how they used to see it in the past, where brands were just like, it didn't matter like how they saw you, and then they emailed you about it. Right now, it's a lot more easier for brands to just go like, oh yeah, we need a TikTok for the company. And then they have it, they find creators that would probably be interested in this. And then they'll take a shot in the dark and just like, hey, do you want to make a video for us? That'd be so cool. But yeah, that's how like it was like that early on, early 2020. But now it's like, I feel like a lot of people are taking more notice in that.
I think to go off of that as well, more on the, I wouldn't say necessarily bad side of brand deals, but because animation's very different in terms of how long it takes to produce, like there are plenty of people who get brand deals that just have to wear the clothes and like stand in front of the camera. But, you know, we take hours out of our day, of which we have jobs or school or other things that we're doing. And I think a lot of the people that reach out to us don't know the proper costs and amount of labor that goes into these types of things. So we definitely get underpaid if we happen to take those types of deals. But it's definitely, I think those brands are not as aware or familiar with animators and how fair wage and minimum wage comes into play when it comes to making these types of videos and making them good quality. Like, I've had plenty of people reach out to me offering $100 for 3 minutes, and I'm like, that's not like I'm not even making a penny from this. And yeah, it's definitely brought a lot of good opportunities, but for anyone who potentially has those brand deals, make sure you're getting paid what you're worth, because you don't want to undersell yourself, for sure.
It took some experience for me to kind of understand what the price point should be, because of the fact I was very benefited to have friends who had already accepted like brand deals and maybe have worked for the industry itself, right? And there's like, animation usually costs like this much, and that's where, like, if I'm accepting a brand deal, one thing that a lot of companies really need to focus on is that creator interested in what you're selling? Because I've gotten plenty of brand deals like reach out to me, or it's like, hey, we are a swimsuit company and we'd like you to advertise for us. I'm like, do I look like I'd advertise that? Like, I don't know. When it came to like the tablet company, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I have the niche of artists, so like they're probably going to be interested in digital art. So I was like, I'll gladly do that. But you also have to realize that the people that you may be talking to just may not know the medium in general, so they're not going to price it like with the knowledge of this is how it should be priced. So it's just a lot of experience and like learning what those numbers are to you if you want to accept brand deals like that, because you don't want to make it not worth your while at all. You're spending hours like animating a single video that, like, was it worth it and worth your time?
Yeah, there's just so much potential to talk about, like how like brands are trying to integrate into this app and they're trying to figure it out as much as like the users are trying to navigate the app, and it's this kind of like organic thing. And it's been such a like a fruitful discussion overall. And I wanted to kind of like round up by asking everyone what are their observations about the app? Any last words? Would you like to kind of like give any advice for maybe any of the listeners who are considering going into TikTok, who maybe professionals or maybe are just like, have just started drawing, yesterday, and they're like so excited. Karen, would you like to start?
I mean, I started on TikTok. I plan to stay on TikTok. Any advice that I would give is to build that relationship with your audience. It's a lot harder when animating because you're dealing with a character that's not real. But when you use that character over and over again, people are gonna build a relationship with that character, and people are gonna want to come back for more. So that would be my biggest advice: is to get to know your audience and build a relationship with the characters that you're creating.
Awesome. Chaos, would you like to say any advice, observations?
I mean, like I said, when it comes to strategizing, don't take advice from creators. But when it comes to introducing yourself into the app, like Karen, I couldn't have said it better than Karen. Like, it's just keep a stable connection with the people who watch your stuff, because like it's your community. It's the people that want to see more from you. And when entering the app, just keep an open mind, because honestly, anything can happen. Like, I did not walk into this app kind of expecting that I'd be here talking to you guys about the app. I was just in my bedroom. I had a random idea one night and I started scribbling on paper, and it was enough to where people really resonated with it. And it's like, oh, this is cute. And it started to grow, and I was like, oh, people like this stuff. And I kept doing it, and it just kind of leads you in a direction that you weren't expecting. And that's just life. So when it comes to like entering this app, keep an open mind. That's all I would say.
Very cool. Edmund, would you like to say anything?
Biggest advice I would give is stay consistent. Consistency is the biggest thing when it comes to doing anything in general on whatever platform you're on. Do not get discouraged because your first couple of videos didn't get any views. Just keep posting, just keep making stuff. You'll get better at it, and eventually something will happen. It always happens. It's TikTok, but something always happens. But as far as like where I see the future with TikTok is that I truly do believe TikTok is going to be either the #1 or like one of the #2 bigger app in the platform, and like eventually it's gonna get the respect that it really deserves as far as like the amount of audience it holds currently. And I'm excited to see what it looks like in like 2 years time, because I feel like in 2 years time, or like actually, yeah, 2 years time, I feel like everybody's reaction to being a TikToker is going to be completely different. It's going to be more like, oh, you are a content creator, you are an animator, rather than like you're a TikToker. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's a very important distinction.
Yeah.
And Zoe, would you like to round up with everything?
Sure. I think overall, if you're wanting to post things, whether it's on TikTok or any other social media, post it from the heart. Like, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, that's what's going to keep you grounded when you're going on these platforms, especially when anyone can see it. The numbers does not equal your worth. You know, as long as you're happy with what you're putting out, I wouldn't be too worried about how many people see it. And yeah, I mean, just do you. I don't know what to say. As long as you're having fun, as long as you're enjoying your stuff, like anyone can start at any point in time. I mean, there's been plenty of people in my comment section like, oh, I wish I could do this. Oh, I wish I could draw like you. And it's like, you can. Just put the time and effort into it, practice, and you can get there. It's not impossible. So anything.
Yeah. It would be very interesting to also just revisit this conversation in maybe 2 years' time and like see how much everyone has grown, because 2 years on social media, it's like 10 years in real time. And a lot can happen, and you know, you're all at the start of your opportunities, and you know, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So
especially with animation, you know, like we're like 2 years time, like that, a lot can happen in 2 years.
Yeah, you can draw so many frames, you know, in 2 years.
In 2 years, I animated 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
That's how traditional animation be. Well, it was like absolutely lovely talking with all of you. You've given so much like great depth and advice, and just such interesting insight from all of your different backgrounds. And I'm like very excited to have you here, and it was an honor to talk to you. And I want to remind the listeners that this is part 1 of Animators on TikTok, and there will be another panel session. So thank you for joining, and thank you for listening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Q&A session with the TikTok animators. Just a reminder to everyone that there's a Q&A button in the Zoom window down below. So if you want to pop in some questions, yeah, we will answer them slowly. But yeah, I want to just like ask everyone, how is everyone doing here? How has everyone been since like our last talk?
So exciting, like just to be here in general and see what you guys have been doing since we've last talked. It's been so cool.
Yeah.
So many things has happened, at least for me. I got to teach a Skillshare class, and I got to do a live class. And yeah, TikTok's been amazing for, I think, everyone here, but a lot has happened. So I've been excited to ride the train.
Yeah, how has the Skillshare classes have been like teaching, and how has the response to that been?
You know, they reached out to me to teach animation which I was so amazed by that, because I started animating just like 2 years ago, and I'm self-taught. And so on one end, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just do what I love. Like, how do I transform that into teaching something? And they were a great help and everything. And I was able to do a live class as well, which is always nerve-wracking when you're live with other people. And it was cool to see other people's projects too, because they actually do like the animations, and it was so cool to see like little kids drawing, which is my goal. So.
Nice. But that was very exciting.
Oh, it was so exciting.
That's nice. I would like to teach a Skillshare class, but I'm a little bit too lazy to actually work on one, so I can probably wait on that.
How long does it take to make a Skillshare class?
So I was fortunate enough to do it in LA. So I drove down there, and we had a nice little studio. It was during COVID time, so it was only like a couple of us in there, and it took, I think, 2 or 3 days. So the first day was kind of just like pre-recording, like intros and things like that, and the next day was the actual class. And I think it was just 2 days, I think. And but there were 2 full days of recording.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems fun actually. Now I think about it, because
Oh, it was so fun and so chill. Like I was so nervous at first, but they made it so relaxing. It took everything step by step, so I felt confident in what I was teaching.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. As far as what I've gotten done, I did a collab with TikTok that came out, I think, right around after we had the first interview panel. That came out. That was a lot of fun. You know, got a lot of articles written on me, which is interesting, and got to work with some amazing creators, as well as, like, you know, being able to like directly have access to TikTok itself. That was a very fun project. And apart from that, I don't think I'm allowed to talk about the other ones currently going on, so I'm gonna be quiet.
What was the video that you did for TikTok?
It was a kind of a non-stop bullying campaign for TikTok.
Oh, I saw those. I saw a couple of you guys doing those.
Yes, I think it was around 6 animators that were picked for it. So it was fun to see everybody's idea and like where they went about creating the kind of video they wanted to make. Although some parts, because working with a brand was kind of, it's like, I want to do it this way, but like, you know, you got to keep it clean and safe and make sure it's like kind of, it works for everybody else. So that was kind of a fun experience, honestly.
It must have been so cool to be like, have TikTok be like, hey, I see you. You know, like we are aware of you and what you do on the platform. That must be like, that's so cool.
Oh, definitely. It was kind of like, almost like this weird validation of like, oh, you just not posted to random people. Yeah, they see you, so you should probably like, you know, kind of keep going. So that was fun.
Yeah,
I think that's. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say even Robert made like a TikTok recently about climate change, or like around cleaning environmental.
The TMCs.
Oh, I still have to make my videos for the TMC.
Yeah, I caught wind of that. I have a YouTube extension called vidIQ, and they featured a privated Mr. Beast video recruiting all creators. So that's where I found out about that.
Yeah. Just to kind of join in that Zoe has come to this panel as well. Hello, Zoe.
Hi. Yeah, I was having some technical issues at my place, so currently I'm at a friend's house, but I made it, so I'm glad.
Welcome.
We actually have one question now. The question asks, how far into your careers did you start getting offers to collaborate / get paid for what you're doing? Does anyone want to start answering that?
Sure.
Oh, whoever can.
That was me.
First. Okay,
I'll go first. Sure.
Yeah.
I started posting on TikTok October 2020, right, a year ago, and my first offer for a job on my page was around April 2021. So like 5, 6, 7 months in or so. But since then, it's just been like exponential. Like the first one came in April, the second one came like 3 weeks later, the third one came 2 weeks later, and I'm getting like too many offers now to take, which is great. But yeah, it started like pretty quickly after I started posting on TikTok. Yeah, people are realizing the power of social media and how important creators are these days.
Yeah. Is there anything that you thought helped really to get into that point, like with the content that you were posting?
I was surprised when it happened. Like I didn't see that coming that quickly. I didn't even know if I was ready to start making ads. But I think I was just like doing my thing and trying to build up my page and explore this side of animation and understand like what it means to post on social media, and it just kind of happened. So there's nothing specific I think that I did on purpose that caused that to happen.
Nice.
I think a big difference is now that we have the creator marketplace on TikTok, where we can actually either reach out, or like companies can actually reach out to us and see our kind of like our TikTok portfolio in a way, the work that we were able to do. So I think that's like a big change right now, and makes it so much easier for other creators who are, I guess, newer to the platform to be able to make money.
As far as for me, I think I started kind of like, I would say about the same as Ginger. It was like 6, 7 months into like making videos. And I believe it was right after I hit over 100K followers. It was right around the time the I guess the requests that are coming in. Every now and then it dips out a little bit. I don't have as consistent as Ginger, but it comes and goes in waves kind of, but it's good enough that I feel like I'll be fine. So it's just kind of like just keep building. And like it feels like, at least as of right now, that companies there's a lot more influx of companies coming to TikTok to like look for content creators to work with to like promote their brand. Because I think there was something I saw at one point of like some lady made a TikTok about was it a skincare routine or something, and like the product was outsold on the shelf like by the next day. And that was crazy. And I think companies are seeing stuff like that and going, oh, we should probably take advantage of it. So yeah.
Yeah. How do you find a niche with like your style if you're also making like almost like a brand of yourself, or like a certain style to cater to? Is there anything you consider?
I usually consider what I'm interested in, as far as like, and I just have a weird sense of humor. So I feel like those are like the way to kind of like put yourself as far as like the niche goes. But in TikTok it's a little bit harder to be in a niche, because you can make a video and it can go viral in a completely different niche, quote unquote, than you was targeting. So it's just like that flexibility. It allows for like you to kind of almost make anything, but the primary audience you've built will usually interact more with the stuff they're used to you making. So, and I think niching down is a little bit different on TikTok as far as like it goes, because you can like make almost the same video, but with slightly tweaks to the joke. And like people just keep loving that over and over and over. And I've seen that like being successful on friends' account and other people's account and even my account. So, and like it kind of becomes a series of like, oh, it's this dumb little joke. He trips, he falls, funny kind of situation. So yeah.
To add on to that too, the other nice thing about TikTok is that because so many things can go viral, you can have like a wide variety of styles or ways of telling your stories through animation, and it has just as good of a chance of going viral as something that you draw. Like I've drawn little potatoes with faces, and then I've drawn more serious animations where it's like about loving yourself. So like you could do anything, and having that variety does bring in more people to ask for a music video or a commission of some kind.
We have a new question. Karen mentioned teaching herself. Is it better to pay to learn in a formal setting like art classes, college? Did you all go to art school, or is the experience more important?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think you should be drawing whenever you get a chance to have that free time, but if you get the opportunity to learn from someone who knows a bit more than you, like I wish I would have done that. Like I watched YouTube videos when I first started to learn how, and now I'm in college for design, but before that I was in college for illustration, and I've learned so much from that. So I think if you get the opportunity to learn, take it, and it makes you become better so much faster. So.
Yeah, very much so. I'm a different topic because I dropped out, but I wasn't in school for animation or art. I was doing something else. But as far as like, I feel like I could avoid a lot of pitfall if I went to school. But with how I am, I learn more when I'm interested in the topic and when I'm driven to like get more. That's how I learned. So in a school setting, that wouldn't have worked out for me, simply because that's not how I learned. I'd rather just like go get the information out myself. But I wouldn't have mind having like at least a mentor to help me out here and there whenever I ran into roadblocks. But for the most part, I've had to like, I'm a self-taught animator as well. So I had to like go through multiple trials and errors, watching YouTube videos. If I didn't know how to do something, I would just Google it. Like, oh, how do you get the frame to not wobble? It's like, I just Google it and I'll look up a bunch of tutorials and go, okay, so that's how you do it. So, and yeah, just drawing every day is a great way to like speed up that process as well. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't want people to think like, oh, you have to go to college to like be successful in the art industry or anything like that, because it's definitely not true, especially for the art industry. You can definitely just go off and do your own thing and build your own platform. I think the most important thing is just building a relationship for your audience so they keep coming back. So with your artwork, like building that until they see your stuff and they see it as recognizable. And so you put yourself in that work, and by doing that, you'll be just fine. you don't have to go to college to be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, we're also pretty much self-taught animators on TikTok, so and we're doing I would say this opportunity is pretty exciting to have. And so yeah.
I'm not self-taught. I went to a 4-year animation degree, but I definitely agree with what you were saying about being recognizable, for like someone to be able to swipe and see your video and just like within half a second be like, oh, that's that creator. I've seen their stuff before. That's something that they don't teach you in school. Kind of like to find your voice and to find your like line in drawing. Or I do stop motion now, but I studied all types of animation. But a style when you're in school, at least, definitely develops over the 4 years that you're there, or what, for me it was. But also, like, if I look at what I'm doing now, it's not what I did in school at all. But yeah, it's social media, animation stuff. It's really important to find something that's niche, not just like in what style you're doing, but also like someone can swipe and be and recognize that it's you right away, because sometimes it's hard to try to grab people's attention every single time you post a new video. So you kind of have to try and rely on people recognizing that it's you and wanting to see what comes next and not swiping away right away. That makes sense. But yeah, I think I loved my degree though. So we're all
yeah. I think that comes with,
go
go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was going to just say that I think that comes with when you're passionate about what you're doing, because that's when you add a little piece of yourself in the work that you do, and that's what ends up making it recognizable.
definitely part of it. Yeah.
Very good insights.
I was gonna say I have a mixture of both, like self-taught and school. So I was originally self-taught with animation, and then I decided I wanted to take it a bit further, and I'm currently in my last year with the animation program I'm currently taking, and it's definitely helped a lot with understanding the principles of animation, how to get fluidity. But I can definitely agree, you kind of have to experiment with your own style, how you want to tell your stories, how you want to draw, because that can't be taught in school. That's through your own self-exploration. But you know, if it's good for you, if you think if it fits well, like I encourage going to school. But honestly, like the amount that I've learned from my education has taught me, like, if you're good at what you do, you don't need that degree in order to get into an industry job. If you know how to use a program, if you know how to animate well, they'll hire you. But if you feel like you need that extra work, like, go for it.
Yeah. Also, you really learn a lot from making videos as quickly as we do.
Yeah.
Like every single video, I'm learning something, whereas in school, I was learning quickly and a lot there too. But sometimes, at least for me in my degree, like my 3rd and 4th year, I was doing 1 movie each year. Like I did short films. So there's a lot different. It's like you're learning a lot differently when you're doing, when you're spending a year on a 3-minute video rather than when you're spending 4 days on a 15-second video, you know?
You're also not stressed out of your mind.
I was stressed both times.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a question from Chaos. How has TikTok possibly amplified your other social media presence? Have you been more inclined to post on other platforms as well?
I definitely think so. I started off on Instagram just with illustrations, and then I kind of wanted to test out animation. And I thought, oh, you know, what the heck, I'll post on TikTok. And then that blew up, which then blew up my Instagram, which then allowed me to get an Etsy and like sell little trinkets and stuff. So it's boosted it a lot, because TikTok has such a broad and wide audience that you can reach. Like I've had people say they're from Brazil, like, love from Brazil, like, hi. When things like Instagram or Facebook even, which, you know, is a bit outdated with artists, I think, I don't think it would have ever happened without that reach that TikTok provides.
For me, I think the way I see as like creators blowing up on TikTok is, I feel like a lot of us would have eventually been successful on a different platform, but it would have taken a lot longer. That's the way I see it, because it feels like everybody else makes amazing content. It's just that if you were posting it on YouTube, it would have taken forever for somebody to find your video, because there's such a broad amount of creators on the platform, like it's crazy. But so TikTok is like it's almost like I guess you could say it's like a fast pace of like, hey, we have creators on here, we have people watching it, but there's not enough creators on it yet. So, and it's just that the algorithm is just perfect. I guess for sucking you in and just keeping you on the app, it's amazing. So, because for me, at least, I've been on YouTube for almost, I think, 6 years, like on and off, and I've been trying to do something with it, and nothing ever happened. But I spent 3 months on TikTok, and that blew up, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just doing this now. But before that, I was on Instagram making animated music videos for like artists, musicians. That was fun, but I wasn't seeing like such tremendous growth on it. But after TikTok blew up, the Instagram took off, and then even the YouTube now is doing better, although I don't really post on there. But yeah, it's definitely allowed like everything else to just kind of be pushed up along with it. I think that's just how like blowing up on social media really works. Even if you would like to blow up on YouTube, something will happen to the other platforms generally. But yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, if you post on like TikTok or YouTube or anything, you blow up on that one platform, you're most likely to blow up on all the other ones, because people want to know who you are and how you do what you do. You know, people are very nicely nosy. I don't know how to say it, but people are nosy, and so they will see where you are on all the other platforms, so they can see more of your artwork, which is always awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's also fun to be able to give variety, because like on TikTok, I post animations and maybe some animatics, but on Instagram, it's primarily like illustration, painting. So it allows to give a nice range of medias between different platforms.
Yeah, we have actually a lot of questions. So I want to like join a few questions that are kind of related to this topic.
All right.
So one question asked by Annabelle is, so now that TikTok is more popular, do you think it will be harder to get attention?
No, I don't believe so. Simply because of this. There's still not enough creators on the platform compared to the viewers on the platform. So you can still very much, I see somebody every other week or every other day going viral on the apps that's just randomly new, just started. Like, I think I saw recently found 2 new animators on the platform that just started, and they're taking off as well. And I'm like, great to see it. I love to see more animators on the platform doing well. So I truly believe the rate at growth for TikTok is not slowing down anytime soon. Of course, it's not as good as when we all were having our success like blow up first. It's not as good as then, but it's still better now than I would say 90% of most platforms right now. That's what I believe.
The other thing too is that because TikTok, the way that the algorithm works is very specific to each individual viewer. People who do, like, a lot of us know each other because we showed up on each other's For You pages, and then we followed each other, and then we followed more animators because they showed up on our For You page, and then, you know, that cycle of things. So with animation specifically, it's always been that nice little niche group of creators. So when a new animator pops up, all of us are like, oh my gosh, guys, look at this new creator. So there's a very good chance that if you hop on a trend or a sound and you draw or do whatever, it could easily blow up, and your account could easily, you know, skyrocket.
Yeah. There's another question on looking back. Would you change what platform you started with, or continue with the platform you chose? Anyone want to answer that?
I would not personally. I think like for Rico, similar story to me. TikTok gave me the confidence, like the instant audience that the way that TikTok works, like gave me that confidence to just keep going and keep creating Robert videos. And then now 1 year later, my YouTube started getting views. So that I would have never had the what's the word for it? I would have never made that many videos just with low amounts of views on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
because
totally
you're putting
agree too. Yeah.
yeah, like you're putting a lot of effort into a video, and knowing that you have that audience, that you're gonna have a minimum amount of people that are gonna see your video, really gives you some sort of like feeling of security with working for a week on a video, rather than like when at least for me, when I first got started, like I spent a day on every video because I was just like, I'm not gonna, I'm not making money from this. It is like a startup business, and it's okay. You have to like put time into something new, but I didn't feel comfortable spending a week or two on a video when I didn't have an audience. So TikTok definitely gave me that, and I'm really appreciative to TikTok, and I love TikTok. So yeah.
Another thing is just the
sorry.
people on TikTok.
Sorry.
No, for sure. I was just gonna say, like, an interesting insight no one's mentioned yet is I think that there's like this whole generation of kids that didn't have like an Instagram or a Facebook or Reddit even. It's not really like 13 to 18-year-olds maybe aren't using Instagram, Reddit, or those apps and like maybe they're using YouTube, but YouTube Shorts is after TikTok. Like TikTok was their app to find creators. Snapchat was their app to talk with friends. And like there was an element of like finding creators on it, but not as much as TikTok. And I think TikTok is for this younger generation what Instagram was, at least for me, in terms of finding creators. And so like they're trigger happy in terms of clicking that follow button. I can get like crazy views on an Instagram video, or a YouTube short can blow up, but there's people are trigger happy on TikTok finding new creators. There's a whole world of new people out there for this younger generation, I think.
I'm gonna move on to the next question because there's so many interesting questions. Sorry to like cut everything, but
It's fine.
there's one about how do you come up with your characters? Someone finds it hard, as we all do, but I feel like it really pertains to Karen, Edmund, and Robert in this case. But yeah, I want to give.
I've actually, for this closer cast, I kind of talked a lot on that subject, but I think it depends. Like, you know, you can have a character like Robert's who he actually interacts with his character. You know, it's not like a persona. Like that's like his household friend, his buddy. Whereas mine is like a little bit of both, where it's me, but sometimes in other videos it's like another person. I think as long as for personas at least, like make a list of like your characteristics and what clothes you like to wear and things like that, what makes you basically. And once you do that, just draw it and do several trials of it and look at what other people's characters are too, and how can you stand out from that. Because I think a lot of people, like Zoe Bob has a very unique style of the way she draws. If I see her animations, I instantly know it's her. Same with like Toonie McNudie and King Science. Like you see the crown, I know it's King Science. So like just trying to make your character stand out, but also relate back to who you are. I'm sure Robert has better experience on how to like create a little, like his character is like almost like his own, like he's alive almost, like being able to he has a personality, he has he's great. So pass the table on.
Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of random how I came up with that. I've always wanted to have my own kind of stick figure kind of character, similar to Odd Ones Out on YouTube, or like my brother. I was jealous of my twin brother, how he drew certain stick characters. So like my first animation on TikTok, you can see the smaller character. I just randomly drew a small line above his eyes, and I liked how that looked. And you can see the earliest videos, Robert's look really evolves throughout all the animations. So, you know, it's never a finished product from the beginning, like Mickey Mouse as well. If you see the earliest Mickey Mouse animations, he looks so different from today. So, you know, it's you can always evolve the character if you're not happy with it. So just start, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment, because even my characters, like the hair, like for me, the most iconic thing about my character is the hair, because when right around the time I was drawing, I got into animation, I had a very like big puffy afro, and I was kind of like, that looks like every other like black character out there, like character of color. So I was like, I need to make it different. And the one thing that I liked about like having like a lot of hair is like sometimes when you wash your hair, it comes down on your face. So honestly, my character Rec is just, how do I put it? It's like it's a slight like exaggeration of myself with like a bit of evil tendencies, because my younger siblings kind of think of me as the evil older brother, although I'm fun, but I'm still kind of the evil older brother. So I'm playing that character with Rekko. So Rekko would just be an embodiment of that older brother. And like, so I just kind of took that, and if you've noticed, I've probably evolved the design of Rek through I think the last 4 years, and recently, earlier this year, I changed the design as well slightly. I gave him a different color shirt and I gave him a different color pants, simply because I was just like, the last design was a little bit too simple, and I didn't like the color scheme anymore, so I changed that up. So it's okay to keep iterating on your character as long as you're not changing it every 2 months. I would say that, because you want to have some kind of consistency with your character design, and you can keep pushing that as you get better as an animator or illustrator and get to a point that you're happy with. That's like what I would say with that.
Mm.
I think to add on to that as well with character design specifically, because they talk more about, personas of yourself, but in terms of general like cartoon characters or more realistic characters, reference is your best friend. Like, find artists that you like, break down like what things you like about that character, and then figure out how you would do that yourself, or switch it up in your own way as a practice. Pinterest is also great. I very much encourage making a Pinterest board and pinning things that you're like, oh, I really like how the costumes designed on this, and kind of going through exploring that. There's also plenty of videos on YouTube about character design, about making like interesting yet simple characters, so on and so forth, which has helped me a lot with thinking of things. It's just practice, trial and error, and you'll get there.
Yeah. We have an interesting question from Misha that says, do you aim to create videos that are short in the TikTok limitations, or do you try to create a longer story with chapters to keep the audience engaged?
It depends. I guess typically with TikTok, short form is better. But if you have something that's a lot more meaningful, like there are plenty of content creators that will do animations or stories in segments because it makes people come back. But the downside of that, it's like a double-edged sword. You have to post it like the next day, because otherwise people will lose interest. It's not going to blow up as much if it's not there already. Rather than with short form TikToks, people can watch it over and over again. And I don't know, like the one downside with TikTok is that my attention span has gone down so much because everything is, 15 seconds on an average or shorter. So definitely the shorter videos tend to do better, but on the occasion, if you make something that's like really, really well done, it's longer, it just depends. Longer videos can do well, shorter videos tend to do better.
Yeah, as far as it goes for me, I think I try to have the freedom of allowing myself, if I'm interested in telling like a longer story, I'll make it into like a more short bits serialized content, because I myself have tried to make longer form content and I just don't enjoy making it, like just in general. Trying to make like a 5-minute video is like, it kills me, and it takes, I don't like how long it takes to make it as an animator. So I wouldn't want to do that unless it's like something like a short film. If it was a film, then I would be more willing to want to do that. But as far as just like making content, for me, getting something out quick, and not necessarily fast, but something out quicker, it's just a lot more fun, because I can think of an idea, I think it's funny, and then I spend like 2-3 days on it, and I can put it out and people can get to see it. To me, that's just a lot more fun, as in like the content creation circle, like a circle. It just works a lot better for me, because I then have that freedom as well. If I'm interested in making something longer, I'll turn something to a series, because I recently did like a little skit, Squid Game like skit. It was just a fun thing. I didn't really think much of it. It blew up, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess people like part two. I'm like, I guess I'll make a part 2. And then now it's like, there's a part 2. And now people are asking for like part 5 now, I think. So it just became something I wasn't really trying to do, but I'm still having a lot of fun doing it, because I could keep playing around with that short form content. Because if I was making like a 20-minute long video or like a 10-minute long video, I wouldn't be able to like turn around and post that. It would take like 2 months. And by those 2 months, the people interested in that would be like already gone.
Mhm. There's actually a related question about how do you plan what you want to post and how often. I was kind of like surprised also that the Halloween posts that are already up from John and Karen. It's like, you guys are fast.
I made that like a week and a half ago.
Plan in advance.
Yeah, I've experimented with posting between 1 and 3 times a week. And I think the best is either once or twice a week. That's for everyone's got to be different on this. It's like for me, also like I can't like physically create more than 3 a week. And when I do make, I did like a 8-week kind of stint where I made 3 a week just as kind of a test run, and I was on contract for something. But of those 8, like 7 of them, sorry, of those 8 weeks, 7 weeks, 21 videos I made in 3 weeks, 7 week. Sorry, 3 a week for 7 weeks, and 1 a week hit over 1 million. But I wasn't feeling like great about 1 a week either. So I kind of feel like just because I was rushing and the ideas weren't coming as often, and I wasn't sleeping a lot because of it, and like I felt like twice a week is better than 3 times a week just for my content. I also don't plan in advance too much. I have like a list, Google Docs, just like with random ideas, and they'll slowly like bake in my head as time goes on. But I'm now I find posting once or twice a week, just better quality stuff is it's just better, because like a video can pick up and get a lot of exposure and find a wider audience if it's of better quality. And I just like didn't spend a few days, like I could spend 3 days on a video and I don't know, it's complicated. Every video is different. I don't even have an exact answer for it.
It goes back to quantity versus quality, and quality is always going to win. I used to post every day, and that was horrendous. But I was drawing, so I loved it, of course. But I didn't start noticing growth until I was actually taking the time, and storytelling in my videos. 100%. So I was posting like once every day, and then it turned into once every Saturday, and now it's like once every 2 weeks. Just because I like to, now I'm starting to post more story-based animations, like my own scripts, and not so much trends, at least. So that's what I've been doing.
I don't do trends anymore.
Yeah, I think being a lot more personal with what you're doing helps a lot.
Yeah,
because trends, everyone else is doing them, so it's like, you know, it's not unique anymore.
Yeah, especially once you have an audience, like you don't need to. Like doing a trend can help you find a new audience, and sometimes people, it's like the nature of TikTok, like, oh, that's such a trending sound, and that's that animator's take on the trending sound, like the Adult Swim trend. Like I did that.
I did too.
I did too.
Right, and that was cool, and like it automatically gets a lot of views because like TikTok was pushing that sound like crazy. But I don't know, there's something like I really enjoy not having to do trends, and like people just like looking forward to, I think at least some of my followers are looking forward to like my style of storytelling and animation, and that's just like really fun to be able to do that.
I mean, it's like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, not to mention the stress of having to stay updated or in the loop with trends. It's like, oh, this trend hits, you have to get it in within like a day or 2, and if you don't get it in, then there's no point. Even if you don't finish within that time, there's less of a chance for that to even reach an audience, because TikTok will boost it so much, and then it just completely plummets to the point where you're like, well,
totally.
Guess I'm not posting this because
like the Adult Swim trend, for example, I rushed it. Like I was like, I have to finish in time to catch this wave, and I rushed it, and like I could have been better, but I felt like I had to, and I don't like that feeling so much. So I prefer
animation takes time. Too much time for TikTok.
Obviously you can, like, there are times where I've like made animations within a day, but I didn't get sleep, and I ended up like having to compromise some of the quality of that animation. Like, sure, it blew up, but am I really satisfied when I look back at what I had to do in order to get this, when I easily could have taken an extra day or 2 to produce something that is of much higher quality? Because in a sense, like, I guess in terms of portfolios and stuff, TikTok is not like the first place you would go to for animation, I think. specifically that, but at the same time, it's public. People can see your stuff, and you're promoting your work, your style, and you want to make sure that the stuff you're putting out is of good quality. So it's okay to take the time. Like, I'm taking a month off right now because I have a bunch of school. So, and I know that if I were to try and post TikToks, they're not gonna be as good as I'd like them to be, because it's just overworking myself at that point.
There's a question related to kind of exposing yourself. That's a bit of a violent word too, but like showing yourself off on the internet and posting your work. How do you deal with any negative criticism or trolls?
The way I like to deal with the trolls, well, at least I haven't gotten too much of that, simply because, at least from my experience, my audience tend to be very protective of me. So anytime something comes through, they're very quick to tell them to get the heck out. Like, no, we don't want to see that here. We don't allow that here. But anytime that it does come true, I try not to pay attention to it, but of course, that's like the main thing, try not to pay attention. But sometimes you can't like just ignore it. It's either one, I say something back that's kind of snarky, that's just to get them to like chill, or two, a lot of the times it's just people looking for you to say something back to get your attention. That's like the other big thing I've noticed. Like, every time I respond back to somebody that says that, usually they go, "Oh my God," and they expect to respond back, "I'm a big fan." I'm like, damn it.
Then why'd you write that?
Exactly. It's like, why would you write that if you want my attention? But it makes sense, because we get a lot of good comments, and you can't keep up with all those comments a lot of the time. So you have to because I tend to like respond to like at least the first 2 hours of the videos, I'll respond back to everybody. But after that, it's kind of like, it's harder to like keep up with that and then try to keep working on the next video. But the bad comment, you kind of notice that, and that sticks with you a lot more. So that gets you to react as soon as you see it. So I get why it works, but I don't like it that it works. And I'm trying to avoid responding back to those nowadays.
I just tend to ignore it. Or it's just half the time the comments are just dumb. And I'm like, I don't care. There are plenty of other things I can do than respond to you saying some stupid remark about my content. Like, it's, and the thing is, with any platform that you're on, you're going to get negative comments, and they're really just there to get attention or rile you up, either from jealousy or, just because. So I just tend to detach myself from that. Like, I post on the internet, people like looking at it, and great. If people don't, then move along. That's it. Like,
I just try to remember that most of them are kids, and I'm not going to argue with the child. So I'm like, okay, they're kids, they don't know any better. Or TikTok has a great feature where you can actually put in suggested words that you don't want in your comment section. So even if a person tries to say any slander, TikTok won't show it on the feed, which is great. So that's what I use.
I have two answers for this. One is just ignore it, and it's kind of funny and I kind of feel bad for the person that they're wasting their time. But on the other hand, once in a while, someone is right about their criticism, and maybe they have a good point, and you could learn from that. Like, one of the biggest changes I made in my content was from a comment on Reddit, surprisingly. And someone commented that, "Oh, I've seen this before, it's gimmicky." It was like in the beginning when I was creating, I kind of was exploring pixelation and like POV pixelation, like using my hands like I do in my videos. And someone commented that it was gimmicky, and it kind of like, I thought about it a lot, and I realized like it was gimmicky, and I needed to explore further and delve deeper into that medium. And I started creating stories out of it, and that was a really good thing for me. Usually ignore bad content, bad comments, and sometimes learn from it. That's kind of what I think. Yeah.
We're slowly kind of running out of time, and I every time we kind of like gather to each other, there's so much to talk about, and I really enjoyed that. But there's a nice question to round it off. Where does everyone see themselves in 3 years? What a wholesome question.
Hopefully a storyboard artist.
Yes.
That's great. For me, I have created the next Cartoon Network. I am making a bunch of shows, animated shows that I've been dancing around in my head, and those shows are existing online for people to enjoy everywhere. That's like the main thing I want to do.
I think I hope to become a toy designer for a toy company one day, hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, TikToks are always still going to be there for me. I think it'll just turn into something I just do more for fun and not try to turn it into a business. And yeah, that's where I hope to be.
Robert, do you want to join in?
Yeah, sure. I hope to be. I love YouTube, so I just want to become more successful on YouTube, get all those plaques, and
Yes.
Close to that million.
yeah, I hope to reach it this year. But yeah, on YouTube, maybe add some characters, create a franchise of some sorts, and find people I want to work with.
And how about you, John?
I'm not sure what's gonna happen with TikTok in a few years, but I'd love to create a team at some point and continue down this route, at least for the short term. 3 years is an easier answer than 5 or 10. Yeah.
But and there was even like a related question about like, did you ever want to like work in the industry after creating so regularly on the internet, or you're still kind of like want to stay on the internet?
I want to stay on the internet. I want to stay on the internet.
Yeah.
But me and Zoe are like industry.
I'm very excited because my program helps students, animation students, go into the industry with co-ops and other things. So being able to transition small stories into, you know, bigger group, obviously the chances of getting a storyboarding job right off the bat, not likely, but to work up to that and get to that point. Like some of my friends have worked on Hilda, Inside Job that just came out, Molly McGee, and like I want to do that. It's so cool. So hopefully I can do both. We'll see.
It depends. Like for the most part, I'd like to have my own business and explore like just creating a business around pixelation, because I don't think that really exists right now. And I feel like I'm like situated in a good place to start exploring that at some point soon. But if I was offered the right job in the industry, I would love to. I don't want to sit in front of a computer my whole life, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. So I'd love to at some point be able to be recognized as someone that can like contribute to a creative team. I don't know where or in what capacity, but I'd love to sit at a table and like shoot ideas out and like create stories rather than sit in front of a computer all the time, because I don't want to do this my whole life. Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of TikTok. Like you really can start from somewhere from your bedroom, and then it can really kick off to so many places, and you really don't know like what's on the corner, who's watching. There's so much potential for it.
Yeah, you guys were watching, so.
I started posting TikToks on the road with an iPhone 5. Like I wasn't living anywhere, and I posted with an old phone, and it was fine. Like you could start anywhere with any camera, no need to get fancy equipment or have like a crazy set or anything. Or a crazy computer even. I was on an old random computer. Yeah.
The bedroom to the boardroom.
Yes.
But yeah. Thank you so much to everyone who joined today. Yeah, it's been so interesting to talk to everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to anyone who's watching, we also have the session on Spark Festival that you can watch. It's like an hour-long discussion. It's a bit more split. But yeah, thank you so everyone for joining. And yeah, hope you have a good Halloween today.
Yeah, hope everybody do too.
Yes, happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
Stay safe.
Halloween.